The most important person in this world is my daughter. You are so much more. You are so much more than even you know.
Christina Applegate has reached a heartbreaking point in her life. Her final television role has wrapped. Her last film project has been canceled. And because of a debilitating disease that is ravaging her body, she can no longer continue working. Yet the true shock surrounding her story isn't just her illness, it's the dark past that few ever knew about. Her upcoming memoir is expected to peel back the curtain on decades-old pain, exposing the predators, the exploitation, and the painful choices she was forced to make as a child. She promises to reveal trauma so raw and unexpected that even her most loyal fans will be stunned. Some secrets were never meant to remain hidden. But Christina Applegate is finally ready to share hers. Christina was born on November 25, 1971, right in the heart of Hollywood. Her father worked as a record producer while her mother pursued a career as both a singer and actress. However, her parents' marriage didn't last long. They separated shortly after Christina's birth. Her journey into the entertainment industry began almost before she could form memories. At just 3 months old, she appeared on the soap opera Days of Our Lives alongside her mother. Nancy Pretty, Christina's mom, couldn't afford babysitters, so she often brought her baby to auditions and sets. Sometimes Christina was coaxed on stage with M&Ms while Nancy performed. Most toddlers at that age were still learning to form words, but by the time Christina was in kindergarten, she was already a member of the Screen Actors Guild. At only 5 months old, Christina appeared in a Playtex baby bottle commercial. For Nancy, this wasn't just a cute milestone, it was a vital way to pay the bills as a single mother. Christina's earliest memories weren't centered around toys or cartoons, but around being on set, hearing stage cues, and waiting for her next scene. At one point, Nancy briefly dated musician Stephen Stills, who even gave young Christina a guitar that she cherished for years. This wasn't a normal childhood. It was survival within Hollywood's unforgiving world. By the time she turned 9, Christina landed her first movie role in a little-known horror film called Jaws of Satan. The bizarre plot followed snakes possessed by the devil terrorizing a town in Alabama. Christina played the daughter of a local businessman, though the film itself barely received a release and was soon forgotten. Still, it marked her transition from baby commercials into feature films. Soon after, she appeared in television shows, like Charles in Charge and Silver Spoons. In 1986, she earned a Young Artist Award for her performance in Heart of the City. While most children her age spent afternoons playing in parks, Christina spent hers memorizing lines and shooting scenes. But behind her early successes, Christina carried hidden wounds. At only 8 years old, a neighborhood boy cruelly called her fat. It was just one word, but it cut deep and left a lasting scar. She later admitted that this single insult triggered her lifelong struggles with body image, food, and self-worth. By the time she was 15, she had landed the breakout role of Kelly Bundy on Married with Children. Around that same time, her mother enrolled her in Weight Watchers, further fueling her insecurities. Christina began eating almost nothing some days, surviving on only 5 almonds. If she allowed herself a sixth, she would break down in tears and refuse to leave home. Instead of recognizing the harm, Nancy simply asked, "How'd you do it?" When Christina's weight dropped to 110 pounds in 1987, Christina stepped into the role that would make her a household name. At just 15 years old, she became Kelly Bundy, the blonde, sarcastic daughter in Fox's daring new sitcom. The show ran for an incredible 11 seasons and played a pivotal role in helping Fox grow into a major television network. Christina's portrayal of the ditzy blonde became iconic, with her Kellyisms turning into instant fan favorites. While millions laughed at her character on screen, Christina was suffering in silence. Her eating disorder consumed her for decades, though she didn't speak publicly about it until 2024. That year, she finally opened up on her podcast with Jaime Lynn Sigler, admitting that the overwhelming pressure to stay thin led her to stop eating almost entirely. She confessed she wanted her bones to show. On screen, she looked radiant, but privately, she was falling apart. Even now, Christina admits she struggles to face her reflection, sometimes scribbling notes on mirrors just to stop herself from breaking down. Her first big film role arrived when she was just 19 years old. In 1991, Christina starred in Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead. The film opened at number 6 at the box office, bringing in only $4.2 million its first weekend and finishing with a total of $25.1 million. Not the hit anyone had hoped for. Christina admitted she hadn't even wanted to do the movie. At the time, she was still starring in Married, with children, and felt that commercial films were beneath her. She later reflected that she had acted arrogantly on set, even calling herself a freaking asshat for her behavior. But despite poor reviews and lackluster box office numbers, the film slowly gained popularity. Through VHS rentals and cable reruns, it became a cult classic. Audiences connected with her performance even when critics dismissed it. By 1998, Married with Children had ended, and Christina was determined to reinvent herself. At 26 years old, she wanted to prove she was more than just Kelly Bundy. That year, she starred in 2 very different films. In The Big Hit, she acted opposite Mark Wahlberg in a high-energy action comedy. In Mafia, she played the fiancée of a mobster in a full-on parody. Neither film was a massive box office hit, but for Christina, the real victory was showing Hollywood she could handle a range of roles. This was her first big step into more mature, diverse characters. And it paid off. In 2002, Christina took another leap with The Sweetest Thing, starring alongside Cameron Diaz and Selma Blair. She delivered a performance so natural that many believed she and Diaz had been lifelong friends. While critics weren't, Roger Ebert himself wrote, "It wasn't a great film." He admitted that Christina, Diaz, and Blair's fearless performances made it impossible not to appreciate. The film aimed to be a female-driven version of theirs. Something about Mary, filled with outrageous humor and shocking moments. For Christina, it marked a turning point. Audiences finally saw her as more than just comedic relief. She was a leading lady in her own right, and Hollywood took notice. Her undeniable chemistry with Diaz opened doors to bigger roles. 2 years later, in 2004, Christina landed another iconic role as Veronica Corningstone in Anchorman: The Legend of Ron Burgundy. Loosely based on real-life journalist Jessica Savish, Veronica became one of Christina's most recognizable characters. Acting alongside Will Ferrell and his comedy team, she proved she could hold her own in a film heavily built on improvisation. Many scenes weren't even scripted, yet her timing, poise, and wit turned Veronica into a character audiences adored. Nearly a decade later, when Anchorman 2 premiered in 2013, fans welcomed her return with open arms. Christina had transformed from sitcom teen star into a commanding comedic actress who could stand shoulder to shoulder with Hollywood's biggest names. By 2005, Christina had set her sights on Broadway, a lifelong dream. That year, she starred in the revival of Sweet Charity at the Al Hirschfeld Theater. The show officially opened on May 4th and ran for 279 performances until December 31st. Her portrayal of Charity Hope Valentine earned her a Tony Award nomination for Best Actress in a Musical, as well as a Drama Desk nomination and a Theatre World Award. Critics praised her for seamlessly transitioning from television comedy to musical theater. Having trained in dance since childhood, this role was the culmination of years of dedication. But the road to Broadway was anything but easy. The production began with a 3-city preview tour in Minneapolis, Chicago, and Boston, and the choreography was grueling. Christina pushed herself through the physically demanding routines. But on March 11, 2005, During a performance in Chicago, disaster struck. Just minutes into the show, she broke the 5th metatarsal bone in her right foot. Despite the injury, she continued for 20 minutes before the pain became unbearable. Her understudy finished the performance. Initially, producers announced the show wouldn't continue to Broadway, but Christina refused to let her dream die. Just 2 days later, she convinced producer Barry Weisler to keep the production alive. When she returned to the stage on April 18th, she performed in special tan medical boots designed to support her injury. These boots, though necessary, became a constant reminder of the toll the show was taking on her body. Christina pushed through the pain, determined to dance no matter what, but the injury left permanent damage. By 2013, she admitted with deep sadness that she could no longer dance. For someone who had lived and breathed dance since childhood, it was a devastating loss. While her Tony nomination stood as a testament to her talent, it also symbolized the cruel irony that just as she reached her Broadway dream, her body gave out. On opening night, her co-star Dennis O'Hare presented her with flowers and praised her to the audience, acknowledging the immense courage it took for her to reach that stage. On the personal front, Christina's marriage to actor Jonathan Check seemed like a fairy tale at first.